Welcome to the Shikama Live Show with your host, Shikama. So, the autopsy of Etika confirmed that the cause of death was drowning. It's a horrible way to go to jump off a bridge. You incapacitate yourself either by knocking yourself out at the very least, or worse, you break all your bones. But that just incapacitates you. That doesn't actually render you gone. You then drown, probably struggling to get air, but are now incapable of getting air because your primary directive to stay alive kicks in. It's a horrible situation. This means there are probably tons of restless spirits surrounding bridges, and one of the more metaphysical of my subscribers, said that they believe that there are much thinner gateway between this world and the next world at bridges. I have no expertise in such, so I'll just, about or whatever they say. I have to mention, most of y'all who don't know who I am, you can look over my stuff. I have to mention he was worth $1.6 million. Could this not have been suicide at all? Could someone have killed him and made it look like a suicide? He was unstable. He could have been lured to the bridge, killed, and then made to look like a suicide. He spoke about suicide, so it would be very believable as a perfect crime. You know, the perfect crime is the crime where somebody doesn't look for an actual crime. That's the perfect crime. And that is always the case, in fiction or in nonfiction. The perfect crime is one where it's committed and it appears to be conclusive that it was an accident or the person committed suicide, right? Or natural causes, right? Uh, it has to be that people do not believe a crime was committed. He made a video right before his death talking about suicide, but you have to know that he said that many times before, on many occasions. And he said that he would never do it. That his conclusion, when he was talking about it, is that he would never do it. Finally, Keemstar needs to be investigated. Read my lips. I'm saying that Keemstar needs to be investigated. That's all I'm saying, right? He suggested to Etika to end it all. Why don't you just jump off a cliff? Quote. This was said to a man with mental problems. He was unstable. Clearly, he was unstable. He went to the hospital. It was his last public interview. Keemstar's only reason for inviting him was that he wanted views. Keemstar is a regular total pile of garbage. He ruins people for views. He's the TMZ of YouTube. Keemstar laughed as he claimed another YouTuber was a pedophile in another instance, who later uploaded a video of himself screaming and crying to stop. I was asked to make so. Some of you might recognize me because I was the one who went through and investigated the Toby Turner allegations, which YouTube came against me for making my videos proving that the girl was false. So clearly, and if you don't know anything about YouTube, you could upload a video and one day it'll be completely approved, and the next day it won't be approved. That tells me there's probably people sitting at YouTube, or probably women, who uh, are unapproving videos. The fact that they have such a thing, and it seems that then if it's approved by somebody else, that means that somebody else has some sort of logic and says, okay, this has nothing to do with anything that we're concerned with. It meets none of the criteria of YouTube's red flags or anything like that. So I was, of course, flagged for the Toby Turners, and I went point by point by point. This is what happened. So they asked me to investigate this guy that Killer Keemstar claimed was a pedophile, which I did not do because I had never in my life laid eyes upon that guy. I had watched Tobuscus and his videos, and I admired his editing skills, fantastic editing skills. I think he's an amazing, talented guy. He made all sorts of music videos, just it seems like, off the top of his head. And he does that a lot, if you follow him on Facebook or Instagram or something like that. But that guy, I did not. And Killer Keemstar claimed that the guy was a pedophile. The guy later uploaded a video of himself screaming and crying to stop. Keemstar sent millions of his fans to go onto the man's channel, call him a pedophile, flag all of his videos, and that guy nearly committed suicide too. And he left YouTube over the incident. And he was a YouTuber with millions of subscribers and followers. Keemstar's latest escapade took him calling out a gay YouTube makeup star and getting in the middle of a fight between that YouTuber and another female makeup star. Allegations came out that the gay YouTuber was going around raping straight men. I have no comment on that. I have no desire to comment. I'm just giving that as proof of what Keemstar actually does. Through all of this, Keemstar hasn't been charged with anything. Most of the fans involved in all of this are very young people, ignorant of the legal system, the judicial system, and what is and isn't right. And it seems that that last statement, that you have young people who have no idea what is and isn't right. When you have people literally claiming to be of a political party, and that the political party stands for truth and justice and what's right for the common man, and they don't know what's right at all. No idea, none. The idea of justice goes right over their head, and they don't know that they're following people, following leaders who are just as corrupt as the day is long. That has nothing to do with Keemstar. I'm just telling you what is the status quo. In doing a research for this particular video, I came across all sorts of British mainstream media outlets talking about Keemstar and just going over, bam, pow, pow, pow. He downplayed a guy with cancer, made fun of a autistic child, made fun of a guy with epilepsy, made fun of a guy because he's black. Made fun of a guy because he's gay. calling this guy this name and that name and this and that and the other name. Mainstream outlets that, you know, talk about, you know, the weather and stuff. I mean, just really non-edgy, non-confrontational periodicals, online magazines, and just blasting the history of Keemstar. Now, Keemstar told the guy that he should jump off a cliff. I believe that he should be investigated over those statements. And for you all who don't know the American system, there was a young lady who was involved with a young man, and she convinced the young man to commit suicide. Now, the people said, "Oh, they were just talking." No, there was something like 4,000 or 5,000 conversations that she had trying to convince him to commit suicide. The guy was mentally unstable to begin with. And the court held that she was, in fact, responsible, and she's in jail today. No, I don't have that. Go research it yourself. You're online. I hate when people say, "Well, where is that? Where's the link?" You're literally online at a link. Do me a favor. So we have that judicial precedent, and the United States works on judicial precedent. That means if there has been a case decided one way, and if the facts coincide in general with such a case, a new court in a new trial will support the findings of the first trial. That had nothing to do with the same parties, right? It's called precedent. So somebody else already decided that, and here's my argument that boom, it's already been decided. You should hold in the same way. So court precedent, the legal precedent has been set that if you tell a person to commit suicide, which he explicitly did, and the person happens to be mentally unstable and actually commits suicide, you are liable. That's legal liability. You are liable. And the same thing about a lot of people came out against a decision to hold some girls liable for doing the same. Well, what they don't know, the facts of that case, is that the girls came to her, invited her over to parties, and were meeting with her face to face, and telling her to do this and that and the other to herself, and calling her all sorts of names and blah 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 blah. So face to face. It wasn't just on Facebook. It wasn't just on Twitter. Face to face. And so the court did the right thing and held them liable for that, right? Right? Face to face. So I don't think there has been a case where they've, although I know in Great Britain you all do run around arresting people for stuff that they say on Facebook, which I think is madness. No, this is not Sparta. I think it's madness that you would go and arrest somebody for saying stuff on. But in this particular instance, those are the facts, and I think Keemstar should be investigated. I'm not saying what the outcome should be, but I believe he should be investigated. If you agree with me, leave a comment below. Thank you all for watching.